Hi guys, Samantha here and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing a speed renovation of one of my favorite apartments in the fashion district in the San Myshuno. And I was kind of inspired because I wanted to make, well actually, I don't know, I've always wanted to do like a series where I redid some of the apartments, and this was the first one I wanted to do. I think it was because it was probably the first apartment I've ever lived in City Living, and that was when I was actually playing the City Living LP with Reagan, and this was her actual first apartment. And I remember being so, I guess, challenged with the space, because it's like a rectangular space and you want to make it work and you want to make it look different. And so it's kind of interesting because it's almost like a challenge kind of redoing some of these apartments, because you have the constraints of the windows. You can't add windows, you can't change the door. So you're pretty much just dealing with the space like how it comes. And for that reason, I thought, hey, it might be kind of fun to do like a little bit of renovation series with different apartments and stuff in the world, just in case you guys want some different looking. I don't know, it gets to the point where when you play different save files and you're always, you know, playing the same areas and things of that nature, you get kind of bored seeing the same apartment schematics or setup or whatever over and over again. But anyway, so I'm just, you know, basically trying to map it out right now, but figured while I was doing the speed reno, I guess you can call it, I'll give you guys like a quick overview or like a quick story time, I guess you could say, of my trip to London. So earlier this summer, I ended up going to London. I think it was June 9th or 10th. I can't remember. My first time, technically, I could say it was my first time out the country, but technically it wasn't. I've been to Mexico a handful of times, and I've went on cruises pretty much in the Gulf of Mexico area. So technically I've been out of the States, but not really like across the ocean to a whole nother continent, in so many words. So that was my first time going out the country. So super excited, but I got a chance to, I guess, I don't know, it was just different for me. I don't even know what to say. But anyway, so the flight was fairly long, to be honest with you guys. I traveled from Anchorage to Seattle, which was roughly a little bit over 3.5, well, maybe right about 3.5 hours. And then from Seattle to London, I want to say was like 9.5 hours. It was quite an ordeal, and pretty much an overnight flight. Slept on the plane, or at least tried to sleep on the plane, which was a bit of a challenge because, you know, you're on a plane. So thankfully I was able to get a decent enough seat where I could lay back, and there was only one other person on the side of me. Of course, there's movies, they fed us, which was nice. And what else? Overall, it was an interesting trip. Let's put it that way. And the seat that I was in, guys, I mean, what I'm telling you, it was a nice setup. The remote control on the TV, they gave you like a bag with with the eye mask, so you can cover your eyes up, socks and toothbrush and stuff like that. And then they pretty much had unlimited cocktails. You could have like wine, champagne, sparkling, stuff like that. I didn't really want to, because when you're on a flight for that long, the last thing you want to think about is actually drinking. I mean, for obvious reasons, because I mean, what if you get like, sick or whatever. But, and then unfortunately I wasn't sitting next to the window I was sitting on the aisle. So the lady I was sitting next to, as soon as we got on the plane, she closed the blinds, or the little window flap, whatever you want to call it. So I was a little bit disappointed, because I'm the type of person that wants to look out and look down at the ground, or wherever we are, look at the world and kind of see, what all's going on. Thankfully on the way back, I did sit on the window, and, I'll tell you that story when we get to that part. So I was able to see quite a bit. But anyway, so got there early Monday morning, London time, which I think was still Sunday Anchorage time. So that was another challenge, because whenever I wanted to call and check on the kids, there was a bit of a time gap, and it was like when it was my morning, it was their night, or vice versa. I don't even know. And unfortunately, while I was gone, which is a whole other story, I'm gonna be jumping around, y'all, because I'm trying to talk and have you guys watch this while I'm talking. But anyway, it was interesting, because I ended up making a mistake and keeping Alyssa up a couple nights, not even realizing, because I was just messaging her. We were going back and forth. I was FaceTiming her. I was sending her pictures of different stuff, and she was asking me questions, and I was like, let me find out. Next thing you know, I realized it was like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning for her, and I was like, Alyssa, go to bed. Anyway, it was kind of crazy, but it was fun. But anyway, the first first day, it was basically just getting over the jet lag, trying to take a nap, getting used to the time difference and things of that nature. So really didn't do too much the first day. But the second day is where the fun all started. I actually met up with Leah, who is a viewer of the channel. She also streams on Twitch. And I have never, well, I guess living in like Louisiana and, I lived in Houston for a little bit. I lived in Alabama for a little bit. And of course, I've lived here. I've never had to do like a lot of public transportation. So in order for me to I was staying on the outside of London, and I forget the name of the city just that quick, but it was a little bit of a train ride to get to actually where London was. And I think it was called the Weybridge station. I think it was called. Anyway, so it was a bit of a train ride. So I had to pretty much get from the hotel I was staying at to the train station and get on the train station, which was kind of interesting because they had these things called speed trains. Like they were like really fast trains. And I think it took me maybe a little bit less than 30 minutes to travel to where me and Aaliyah were going to meet up at. And it wasn't very much to see during the train ride. It was a lot of grass, a couple buildings, a lot of graffiti, which really, really surprised me because I don't know. I was just thinking it was just a lot of graffiti. That was like one of the first things I remember thinking. It's like, wow, there's like a lot of graffiti out there. And, there was like, I guess maybe the way they do the trains is they kind of keep it in scenic locations. So it won't interfere with the city, so to speak, but it wasn't very much to see, like a lot of trees, a lot of like scenery and stuff like that. But otherwise, it was a very interesting trip. But by the time I got to the station, Leah had actually set up a double-decker tour bus situation for us, which is so cool because, you see them on TV, you kind of see them, I don't know, like you see it, you know what I'm saying, but never thought maybe you'd actually take one. But the tour bus, I can't remember the company. It was from, I cannot remember. I wish I remembered so I could tell you guys in case you ever go. But it was a really nice tour bus. There was a lady that kind of stood up and told us all the things where we were passing. The only complaint I probably would have during the tour bus was the weather there is interesting. Let's just put it that way. It went from being fairly warm, kind of like, okay, it's kind of warm, to very chilly, to drizzly, to back to warm. So I was constantly, like, I had brought a poncho with me. I was constantly taking my poncho off, putting it back on, just kind of like covering my head with my hoodie, taking it back off. It was just kind of like all over the place. But another thing that really struck me as kind of different there, and this is no criticism to London because I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to go back. I really feel like it's a second home at this point. But the buildings are so strange to me. They would actually mix up a lot of old buildings with new buildings. And I don't know, it was just weird, like very modern buildings with very old traditional, like what you would think would be like historic type buildings. And they would literally be like smushed together. They would be like next to each other. Like they built they built the building right next to an older building. It was so weird. And then in the horizon, you'd see like these tall skyscraper, silvery, like really architectural type buildings with slants and ovals and stuff. And then like right next to it, you'd see like the Parliament, which is like super, super old. I don't know how old it is, but I could probably guess like maybe centuries because there's so much history and stuff there. So it was just really strange. It was really strange. So we did go over like bridges and stuff during the trip, which was cool. The tour guide was really, really sweet. She tried her hardest to make sure everybody could hear. And even though some people were being kind of rude, like, we can't hear you. And we were like, we can hear you just fine. But Leah, oh my gosh, she was the one. I was like, she needs to be the tour guide because she was giving background stories about stuff that the tour guide lady wasn't even talking about. Like she was telling me about the gangsters dumping bodies in the waters and some guy that had a bomb in the Parliament and was going to blow it up. And what else was she telling? All sorts of crazy stuff. It was like juicy gossip. So we sat and talked for the whole time, which was nice. So we really didn't pay attention to the tour guide, to be honest with you guys. And it was just like one of those things. So anyway, after we did the tour, walked around, I was able to do a little bit of shopping for the kids. I don't know why the first day I thought, let me go get souvenirs, but I did go grab Dylan and Alyssa some souvenirs the first day. And so that was really nice. And then afterwards, Leah invited me back to her home and she made me dinner. I got a chance to meet her kitty, which she wasn't very responsive to me. Smudge was pretty much like, I don't know what kind of American you are, but you're not welcome in my home. So she really didn't like talk or socialize with me. But the food Leah made, she made me curry. And guys, I love curry and it was absolutely delicious. So much so that I came home eventually later on, which like about a week or so ago, and made curry at the house because I was like, I need to learn how to make some curry. That curry was off the hook. Anyway, so that was pretty much the evening. I ended up getting back to the hotel room probably at 1 o'clock in the morning. We were out fairly late, but I enjoyed it. It was nice to sit and chat and meet her in IRL because we had talked, via streams, via Discord, via voice chat, via video, just whatever. We had talked plenty of times before and never got a chance to actually meet each other. So that was really, really nice. So the next day was a little bit more low key. I was really, really tired the next day, to be honest with you guys. So kind of woke up, was deciding that maybe I would just go do some little hanging out. Leah actually had something to do herself. So I ended up going to the mall, and I want to say, I forget the name of the mall just that quick. I want to say it started with it was a really, really nice mall, like huge mall, like huge, like crazy huge. And I don't remember what time I got there. I got there fairly, like maybe 11 or 12ish. I got there at a decent time. And was able to walk around. And I mean, they had like the bomb stores there. They had the tea stores. They had they had a Krispy Kreme there, which I was really surprised about. And just a lot of cool stores that I could just like shop around and walk around. But surprisingly, I tuckered myself out like crazy. So after shopping around and looking at some of the stuff, I grabbed Alyssa more stuff. I ended up getting her like some earrings and some hairpins and stuff like that. I almost got Dylan some more stuff, but I couldn't get him to commit via text messaging to what he wanted. He just wouldn't accept it or whatever. And then I ended up eating at a place. I forgot the name of this place, but Leah actually recommended that I ate there and the food was really good. Why can't I remember the name of the place though? But they had something called Perry chicken. Perry, I think it was. It was a type of chicken and the menu was full of it. So I ended up getting something from there and it was absolutely delicious. And then I pretty much took an Uber ride home because I didn't want to deal with the trains because y'all, when I tell y'all, I was like walking and like not dozing, but I was so tired. I remember just walking and feeling like a zombie and I kept sitting down. I went and got coffee and I still wasn't able to perk myself up. So I was like, I don't want to get on the train. I don't want to get on no tubes or anything like that. I'm gonna just tucker myself out. And y'all, I got in the Uber. I had to apologize to the guy. I was trying my hardest to stay awake, but I kept like dozing. So I was just like, I'm sorry. And he was just like, oh, it's okay. But truth be told, you don't want to be in an Uber in a country you've never been to before with somebody that you've never seen in your entire life and fall asleep in the back of the Uber. So I was trying my hardest to stay awake. I was blasting music in my ears. I was looking out the window. I was texting Alyssa. I was doing all sorts of stuff just to stay awake, but made it back to the hotel nonetheless. But surprisingly, I crashed. I don't remember what time it was I got back, but let's say it was like 3 or 4, whatever time it was absolutely, it didn't make absolutely any sense for me to have fallen asleep. And I pretty much slept until probably like 2 in the morning. Like I don't even remember eating dinner. I don't remember, did I eat dinner that night? I don't think I ate dinner, or maybe I did. No, you know what? I think I did get up, went down to the hotel. I did. I went down to the hotel, got like a quick little snack or whatever. And then I went back up to the room and fell asleep. I was out, y'all. I was out. And I felt bad because Leah was messaging me, like the kids were messaging me, and I was just like out. I was out. Anyway, so that was pretty much the next day. The day after that, I'm trying to remember the day after that. Okay, the day after that, we ended up going, I met up with Leah and another lady that I knew from Anchorage just so happened to be there. It was kind of crazy. I think I had posted on Facebook that I was in London and she was like, oh, I'm here too. She was actually there celebrating her anniversary with her husband. They were in London and they were going to go to France. So we ended up meeting up and going to a museum. And I actually got there early enough by myself. I kind of rode the train again, got to Weybridge and I just kind of walked around, ended up doing some more souvenir shopping, which is crazy. And I went looking around. I can't remember the name of the little waterway. There's like a little waterway area, like with a pier and stuff. There's a big old huge Ferris wheel. I think it's called the Eye. There's an aquarium there. There's the London Dungeon. There's a Build-A-Bear there. I ended up getting Alyssa a Pikachu from there. And of course, it was kind of cloudy and dreary again. So I wanted to get on the Eye. As a matter of fact, one of my friends had recommended that I got on it. But he was like, make sure you get on it when it's a bright, sunny day. So of course, I didn't get a chance to ride it at all because the entire time I was there, it wasn't a super bright, sunny day. I think the last day The last day was probably a bright, sunny, super pretty day. But before that, no, it was just cloudy and dreary the whole time. And the line was crazy, insane. But anyway, we ended up going. So me and my friend that I met here in Anchorage and Leah ended up going to, her name is Casey. I guess I could just say her name. We ended up going to the Museum of Natural History. Or was it natural science? Ooh, I'm bad at story time, clearly, y'all, because I forgot the name of the museum. But they had like animatronic dinosaurs there. What else was there? There was like a whole exhibit about elephants and the, I guess, what would you call it? The evolution of elephants, which was amazing. Leah's favorite animal is elephant, so she was just like mesmerized. We were going through that. And there was a couple things you could read about, like Darwin. There was a volcano and earthquake exhibit. There was a human development exhibit where we could see about, how the human body development. We could see, there was an exhibit about like the men, like people, humans from way back in the day, like the bones and how humans evolved and, all that type of stuff. So that was actually really cool. That museum, surprisingly, guys, is free. I think, if I remember correctly, a lot of the museums in London are free. So that in itself is amazing because I felt like it was probably the best museum I've ever experienced ever. And it was in another country, unfortunately, because I would totally like frequent there a lot. I'm a big museum person. I love going to museums. And if I have the time, I will sit here and read every single from top to bottom. I will look at everything. I'll take pictures. I'll analyze. I'm just that type of person. Like I could spend hours in a museum and just be great. And unfortunately, though, we were pressed for time, and Casey was actually meeting her husband for dinner, and me and Leah had planned on going to a pub because I was like, I got to experience a pub while I'm here rather. And so it was fun to be able to just go in the museum and see different stuff. And it was a huge museum, guys. I'm talking about like stories. I'm talking about it had different wings. And it was just overall just a really, really nice museum. So I did get a little shopping done there. It's so funny because the first day I remember being like, Samantha, don't go overboard shopping because you got to bring all this stuff back home in a suitcase that was already fairly full. The suitcase, I think I left like a little smidget of space, like, I'll leave a little space for souvenirs. But for the most part, it was full. And I was getting stuff that, it was going to be tight. It was going to be tight. And I kept going shopping. Anyway, so we ended up going back to Leah's house. She had to change out her shoes and stuff and get herself together. I think she had some tea. Tea is a big deal in London, guys. Well, in England in general, or UK. Whatever. I forgot how they name it over there. But either way, tea is a huge thing over there. So she ended up having tea. And as a matter of fact, since I've been back, y'all, I've been drinking tea every single day. And sadly, the tea that I bought from over there, I'm out of it. So I'm going to have to buy some more because the tea here, I know this is going to sound so bougie and like, I get tea from London. No, technically I don't. I'm going to get it from Amazon. But what I'm saying is, to me, it tastes totally different. It has a richer taste. I don't know. The tea I got from London, guys, if I have a picture of it, I'll post it. I don't think I do. But the tea I got from London, it was on a whole nother level than Lipton here or like Tiavana here. It was just on a whole nother level. And I actually went to the store to go buy some tea after I ran out of the tea I got from there. And I was like, this tea does not taste like the tea in London. It doesn't. Surprisingly, I just wasn't very pleased with it, to be honest with you guys. Anyway, so after we went to the museum, we went to the pub, and I should have got fish and chips, but I think that's what I did. I had got fish and chips the night that I fell asleep, and I got up and I couldn't even get through it all, y'all. I was so tired. I remember sitting at the table falling asleep. I'm bouncing, I'm sorry, but I remember sitting at the table falling asleep. And the guy at the hotel restaurant was like, can you, do you want me to box it up for you? And to be honest with y'all, it might have been the hotel quality of fish and chips. I just didn't enjoy. I remember thinking I didn't enjoy it. I remember thinking like, you don't need to box it up. I won't ever eat this ever again in life. But I remember waking up super hungry. That's why I was trying to remember, did I eat? So whatever it was, I was just kind of like, I wasn't in the mood for fish and chips. And besides, I live in Alaska, guys. We do fish and chips all the time over here. I know it's different in London because that's like their thing. But here we do fish and chips. We do halibut fish and chips all the time. I don't know what fish. I don't know if it was cod or another type of fish. But, so I was kind of like, I wasn't dying to eat fish and chips there. So I ended up getting something else. Like I think I got like a wrap. It was pretty good. And surprisingly, the drinks were really good. They were They were potent. I won't say I got like tipsy or anything, but they definitely had like a kick to them. And I remember them being super affordable. When I thought about the pounds to dollars, I was like, this ain't nothing. So we got like 2 pitchers of drinks, and I forget which ones we got, but we got 2 pitchers of drinks, and I think we got like a couple drinks from each pitcher, if I remember correctly. And we drank on that, and then I ended up going back to the hotel room. And I think the next day, yeah, that was the pub. What day was that? I can't even remember what day that was. Was that on a Thursday? I want to say that was on a Thursday. So Friday, unfortunately, was my last day in England. And I was a little bit sad because I felt like I had came to the end and I felt like I didn't do anything. I was disappointed by day 1 because I didn't do anything. I like literally got off the plane, crashed. Day 2, I had a lot of fun. Day 3, I was disappointed because I was so tired. I went to the mall, and it's like, who goes to London to go to the mall? Even though it was a really nice mall, and I haven't been to a really nice mall in a long time, I could almost compare that mall. If you guys are familiar with Houston area, I would compare that mall to the Galleria, except it was way bigger. And if you know about the Galleria in Houston, you already know the Galleria. And I haven't been to in the Galleria since they've done all the renovations and stuff. So it's probably crazy insane now. But back in 2000, when did I move? 2009, 10, 11. Wait, how old was Alyssa? Dylan was born. Okay, y'all got to do the math. Dylan was born in 14. Alyssa was born in 08. I think we moved when Alyssa was 3. I want to say 3. Yeah. So 2010 to 2011 area. I think we moved to, I don't remember when we moved. Anyway, long story short, it had been that long since I've been to the Galleria Houston, and that mall, it's crazy insane. And this mall put that, you could have put the Galleria inside of this mall multiple times. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. It was crazy. Anyway, really nice mall. But either way, I was a little bit disappointed because those days I felt like I had wasted time. And I was kind of like, Samantha, you could have done so much more than what you ended up doing. But anyway, last day I had a case of the FOMO. Fear of missing out. I was like, Samantha, this is your last day. You're going to get out there and get everything that London has to offer in one day. I went to the Palace. I went to Piccadilly Circus or Piccadilly Square, Piccadilly Corner. I forget the name of it. Piccadilly Circle, whatever. Went out there, walked around other places. Like after you leave the Palace, I walked around other places over there. It was crazy. I was at the Palace for a minute. What I did, of course, I rode the tube, rode the train, did all that type of stuff to get to where I needed to go. And then I also went to the Museum of Art. I think it's called the Art Museum, the huge art museum there. Walked through there like crazy. Stayed out in front of the little art museum. There's like a little square there. I wish I remember the name of these places, y'all. I'm horrible at story time, but you know, I'm popping pictures and stuff up on the screen so you guys will see it. But stayed there. You know, there was like people performing. There was a Pikachu. There was a weird looking Mickey Mouse that was dancing. Piccadilly Square Circus, whatever it's called. Leah, when you watch this video, I'm sure you'll correct me down below. But anyway. Did all of that, y'all. Watched the performers over there. I ate a 10 and a burger 10 or whatever it was called, which surprisingly, it wasn't really good. It was like 3. I didn't realize it was going to be 3 patties, and I thought it was going to be in a 10. Like I could have just forked it, like, you know, ate it with a fork. But the guy was like, no, you push the 10, you push the burger through the 10 and you eat it was way too big. I didn't even get halfway through. The fries are really good, but it wasn't very good seasoned. I was a little bit disappointed about that. But anyway, ate that, did all of that, y'all. It was crazy. And then I want to even say I got a black pina colada, coconut something or another cocktail, and it was crazy. Got Alyssa's Pikachu because I ended up going back to where the eye was because I saw it the day before, like a couple days before or the day right before. And I was like, let me go get her Pikachu because she loves Pikachu. If you know anything about my daughter, she loves Pikachu. And it was dressed in the London Guard suit. So I went back and got that, walked up and down the eye, walked up and down that little pier, actually considered getting on the eye, but the line was too long. And then finally I was like, okay, no, go back to the room, take a nap because I was supposed to meet Leah for dinner. We were going to go to a lobster place for dinner. And yeah, FOMO caught up with me and I crashed. I fell asleep. And that was pretty much my last day. But it was fun. I had like the last day, and I don't know if it's because I squeezed so much in and I saw so much, but the last day was probably my favorite. I really enjoyed the double-decker bus tour, but The only problem with the double-decker bus tour, and this is no, because the tour itself was really, really nice. I just felt like there was a lot of traffic. There was a lot of turns. And a lot of times she would say, oh, look in between the buildings and you'll see such and such. But by the time she get it out of her mouth, we would already be past that area. So I felt like if you really want to take like a really good tour of London and really take in everything, you got to get on foot. The way the turns and the curves and stuff are, like in the city area of London, like that little downtown busy area, some of the blocks are really short and you're making a lot of turns and you're stopping and going. There's people walking across the street, it was a lot to see. And it's almost like if you're in a car or on a tour bus, it's not enough to see everything unless you're like actually walking around. So I feel like for that reason, Friday was probably my favorite day, because I was walking around a lot. I was exploring everything and just seeing everything and like hands-on. Like I said, I went to the museum, the art museum, and I every little piece of art that I saw that I fell in love with, y'all, I was reading it. I didn't take any pictures, even though I saw a ton of people taking pictures. I thought we weren't supposed to take pictures, but a lot of people were taking pictures anyway. So I feel like that day, and then just walking around, like hearing the sights, there were performers on the street. There was guitarists, there's break dancers, and like walking in and out of the stores. I went to a cigar shop just because I wanted to smell them. Came out, did all that type of stuff. I just felt like that particular day, I probably had the most experience, the most well-rounded experience of the whole trip. So yeah, so that was really cool. And, honestly, the day we went to the Natural History Museum, we did walk around. Me and Casey walked around quite a bit before we met up with Leah. And, we walked around the Parliament. They were doing protests and stuff over there. So that was different too. But I feel like if you ever need to go to London for anything, or you wanted to go for vacation or whatever, definitely take the tour bus, because that was different to get like an overview of the city, but definitely walk around. You're going to need to walk around in order to take everything in. But for the most part, it was a really nice trip. So left Saturday morning. It was super early. Didn't have a problem getting on the plane. The only thing I regret is, well, of course, it wasn't enough time. That's one of my regrets. And two, I didn't stamp my passport. I was like, Samantha, you've never been out the country before and you didn't even get your passport stamped, girl. Your passport did not get stamped. So now I got to go back. Alyssa wants to go, so I'm already telling her we're going to make a girls trip and go to London. I think it'll be so much fun. But that was pretty much the story. Got back home, missed my kids like crazy. As soon as I saw them, I couldn't even wait to open up my suitcase and give them all the stuff that I had bought them. And my mom was here, so she had already made dinner, so that was nice. So I was able to eat. Y'all, I took a shower, and after I ate, and literally with the towel wrapped around me, this might be TMI for you guys, but I laid across the bed with the towel wrapped around me just to relax for a second and fell asleep. And I don't think I woke up until the next morning. Probably with the towel still wrapped around me. Anyway, we're getting to the end of the Reno here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. The Reno will be up on the gallery, and stay tuned for screenshots afterwards too. I got a couple of them, but it'll be up on the gallery. I think you need to look at it by rooms. I'll put it by the address, whatever the name of this apartment address is, so you guys can find it. Or you could just look for me on the gallery and follow me anyway, so you can get all of my builds and all of that good stuff. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this story time. If you got any comments or questions, please let me know down below, and enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time.